Guys, I am so pissed right now. This is Juggy Savage of BOJ Radio, and we're about to get back into the Breona Taylor case, reverse psychology style. Most importantly, are some updates to this case that has all of us up in arms because we know that justice was not given for the now deceased, God rest her soul, Breonna Taylor. Now, Attorney General Daniel Cameron has stated that he is now releasing documents related to the grand jury, which is normally shrouded in secrecy to protect witnesses and be able to produce more of the truth, although it's only to the federal prosecutors and not the defense. One unnamed juror has gotten an attorney, and they are releasing documents to the public that indicate that, in fact, the grand jury did not get a chance to look at potential criminal charges for the other officers outside of Sergeant Mattingly. This is insane. This means that the information given to the grand jury by federal prosecutors under the arm of the law only presented one officer for potential criminal misconduct of any kind. The other officers were not included. Now, the Attorney General's office is not happy about this, but we don't really care, bro. We don't care. After a historic $12 million payout by the city of Louisville, the family and friends of Breonna Taylor still do not feel like justice has been served in any type of full measure. Now, if you recall previously, the last time we did an episode on this show, you guys know that it was a shut and dry case. Now take a look at what's going on. The one lone witness who stated that he had heard the officers knock, one lone eyewitness had stated he heard police knock at the Taylor door earlier this year, has now 100% reversed the story. His name is Aaron Sarpy. He's told investigators that he, in fact, did not hear anything. He did not hear police asking to enter the household or introduce themselves in any fashion as the police. This is huge. This could reopen this case and could potentially endanger Attorney General Daniel Cameron, who did not pass the bar. The attorney for the unnamed juror, his name is Kevin Glauger, has said while there are 6 possible homicide charges under Kentucky law, AG Cameron said while there are 6 possible homicide charges under Kentucky law, these charges are not applicable to the facts before us because our investigating showed and the grand jury agreed. This is the key part here, that Mattingly and Cosgrove were justified in return of deadly fire after having been fired upon. But here's the problem. Cosgrove was never presented to the grand jury to be charged in the first place. This is why all information pertinent to the case must be presented to both the prosecution and defense in full measure without leaving out even one statement, even one piece of evidence. Glauger, who was the attorney for the unnamed juror who filed a petition to release these documents to the public, has said that he was unsettled and feels like it was patently unjust for AG Cameron, who attempted to make it very clear that the grand jury alone made the decision involving the case. So again, we have a no-knock warrant, which should be illegal, for drug raid, and there are questions, naturally, as to why they would have done a drug raid on the wrong house. I'm glad you all asked, because we have some information on that as well. It appears in an article by Vice by Roberto Ferdman that SWAT members who were not initially present during this no-knock raid found several instances where protocol was being broken by members of the police car during the no-knock raid. Louisville Metro Police Department Lieutenant Dale Massey said in an interview with the Texas from the department's Public Integrity Unit that suggests alarms were raised by some officers before the raid and that Massey wasn't the only one who left the scene with serious concerns. There was audio of that interview that has now been obtained by Vice and that has been released to the public that was not previously available. Guys, we're looking at actual SWAT team members who are super professionals within the law enforcement arm of the government. They come in on special cases. They have basically said, and I'm going to show you all the screenshots as we go along here, that the officers did not follow protocol, and that the officers who said they got shot at by Taylor's boyfriend are now stating that they are unclear on who shot the officers. So we don't know where the bullets came from. And I'm going to include the links to all of these articles below because I like to speak on what has already been presented and edited by those who are charged to do so within the media community. One of the SWAT officers, whose name is Sergeant Brandon Hogan, said that he saw Cosgrove walking around at the scene of the crime. This is universal policy. If you're involved in a crime scene, you are not allowed back in, but he was in there. And we have released body cam footage confirming this, that this person could have potentially tainted and probably did this crime scene. This is ridiculous. We will not rest until Breonna Taylor receives full measure of justice. Every single cop, every single public and administrative officials, all the way up to the Attorney General, Daniel Cameron himself, needs to be fully investigated by a community-made panel that has nothing to do with law enforcement, since it would be asinine and illogical for the government to examine and try the government. They'll never find anything. Listen, the keys to this case are now coming out and they are now unraveling. It is important for us to remember. It is very important that the evidence that was initially presented by the state attorney's office is now being looked at as false or not complete. The grand jury, who was supposed to be shrouded in secret, thought it enough to say that I need to get an attorney because I do not feel like I'm being presented all of the facts within this important public case that could have major revelations as to future cases similar to this, which should never happen in the first place, around the country are made. If there was a $12 million settlement from the city of Louisville for wrongful death, how is it that no police officers are receiving charges on this case? It's absolutely crazy. And I'm going to go ham. Attorney General Daniel Cameron, why the fuck are you lying?
Why the fuck you lying?
I'm calling you out on the floor.
Oh my God.
You said that the grand jury is supposed to be shrouded in secrecy. Yes, they can be shrouded in secrecy if the grand jury is presented all of the information pertaining to the case first. So now that the motion has been granted by a judge to release the proceedings, audio proceedings of the grand jury's reporting and what they were presented by the prosecution, which is the government side, not the defendant side, now we have to take a look at how things are really going to play out. I think there's a lot more to this case that we haven't been told, and I really do hope that what we get coming up is justice for Breonna Taylor. I will not stop. I will not bend. I will not bow to the pressures of those who would state sanctioned the killing of anyone, much less black bodies. Breonna Taylor and the memory of her will live on in peace. This will be a fulcrum and a cornerstone to stopping police violence. When we get more information on this, BOJ Radio, Juggy Savage, myself, and our producers, we'll be back on top of this. See the links below and read it for yourself. The plot is thickening. Breonna Taylor may yet see justice.